Thanks for having me. I know there was a couple of things that you wanted me to focus on, in terms of the business funds, and then also in terms of the debris removal and environmental cleanup. So I'll focus on the business funds first. There are two funds that are currently open through the county's Department of Economic Opportunity. And if you've never been to the Economic Opportunity website, it's really great. They've got small business programs and all kinds of things. So definitely check it out if you haven't checked it out before. So the two grants, there's the Worker Relief Fund and then the Small Business and Nonprofits Grant. So the Small Business and Nonprofits Grant, which the deadline to apply for that is the 24th at 5 p.m. So keep note of that if you're applying. The LA Region Small Business Relief Fund provides direct relief through cash assistance grants to small businesses and nonprofits who incurred structural loss, structural damage, equipment/inventory loss, or revenue loss because of the disaster. And then the second one is the Worker Relief Fund. And the Worker Relief Fund provides direct relief through cash assistance grants to workers who lost employment or income because of the disaster. And the deadline to apply for that one is also on the 24th. The applications will be reviewed, scored, and prioritized using criteria developed by the City of Los Angeles and Los Angeles County to ensure that funds go to individuals most impacted by the windstorm and wildfire emergencies. Funds will be distributed based on the type of impact applicants have faced, those who permanently lost their jobs, and those who temporarily lost their jobs or had reduced hours. If there are multiple applicants with the same score and limited funds, a lottery will be used to determine who receives payment. All applications submitted by the application's closing date will receive equal consideration with no additional priority given to those who apply first. Grants funds will be provided to selected applicants via direct deposit or cash cards. And I know there are some people who have sort of raised concerns about the really rapid deadline for that. And the reason for the window being so short is that they want to try and get folks money as soon as possible. And that's why they didn't, like, usually a business interruption fund is like you have 6 months to apply. But this one, because of the disasters, they wanted to get people through faster. Are there any do you want me to ask questions after everything or at the very end?
We can probably do it at the very end, just in the
Okay.
interest of time.
Okay.
Also, if
Gotcha.
anyone has a question, please use the raise your hand feature, and myself or Mahogany will recognize you at the appropriate time.
Okay, cool. And then my next one's pretty lengthy. I wanted to be sort of thorough. It's for the debris removal and environmental cleanup. So there are two phases for the environmental cleanup for both the Palisades and the Eaton fires. Residents affected by the wildfires will need to opt in or opt out to both phase 1 and phase 2 by submitting their right of entry form, which is managed by LA County Public Works. Forms can be found at recovery.lacounty.gov or by visiting your local disaster resource center. The deadline to fill out these forms is March 30th. And what the right of entry forms do is it gives the EPA and then the Army Corps of Engineers permission to go onto your property and remove debris. So phase 1, which is conducted by the EPA, is the removal of household hazardous waste. Crews remove the hazardous waste, which can consist of things like paint, cleaners and solvents, oils, batteries, and pesticides. As many of the homes in the affected fire areas are older homes, EPA is also removing asbestos when they are able to easily identify it. When they are not, suspected materials are flagged for phase 2. EPA will also inspect pressurized cylinders like propane tanks for removal. And this phase of cleanup is free and paid for by the federal government. Once they get the materials on site, they're packaged and they're secured and they're taken to the temporary staging area. For the Palisades fire, there are two staging areas. One is at the intersection of PCH and Topanga Canyon Boulevard, where the Real Inn and the Rosenthal Wine Bar used to be. And then the other one is at Will Rogers State Beach. The locations were selected by the EPA in consultation with Cal OES and local elected officials. Proximity to the impacted areas is essential for phase 1 to be completed quickly. The greatest environmental hazard would be delaying the removal of contaminants at fire damaged homes and structures. There's sort of been a lot of controversy about the staging sites and the hazardous waste removal process. And so, like, I want to be as thorough as I can because I know there are always a lot of questions. Protecting the ocean and beaches is a top priority. Every aspect of recovery must include measures to mitigate toxins and fire debris from polluting our delicate coastal ecosystem. The EPA are experts in hazardous waste removal. We called on them to support Los Angeles County in our time of need for this reason. They safely and successfully completed this work in many post-disaster coastal areas, including in Maui and Houston. Staging locations are used to pre-position cleanup crews and to prepare hazardous waste material sent to specialized processing locations outside of Los Angeles County. Waste will safely be transported on PCH and the 10. So there, it's an important thing to note as we're talking about all of the fire debris removal. There are no landfills in Los Angeles County that can accept hazardous waste material. So the hazardous waste material is sent, and it's my understanding that it's sent somewhere more than 100 miles east of Los Angeles County. So the specific steps that the EPA takes to contain the debris in those staging areas are fencing off the entire perimeter with 24-hour security. Materials will be stored on an impervious surface with secondary containment. The surface will include spill control measures, including wattles, booms, earthen berms, and other items to prevent anything from leaving the processing area. The containers will be compatible with the contents to ensure there is no leakage. There's perimeter monitoring with air monitoring all around the site, pre and post soil samplings on sites to verify no negative impact. Materials will be stored overnight, but they will be containerized, stored, and packaged safely and protected from the elements. The materials will be transported off-site depending on the waste stream and volume, but they will not keep anything longer on the site than they have to. There's a water truck there for dust suppression, and materials brought to the site were already placed in containers at the site. Phase 2 is coordinated and managed by the Army Corps of Engineers and is the removal of general fire debris. If you opt out of phase 2, the debris removal opt into phase 2, the debris removal will be performed to you by the Army Corps of Engineers with no out-of-pocket cost. Your insurance payment for debris removal will be assigned to the government to help pay for the work. Even if the insurance payment does not fully cover the work, their work will be performed at no charge to you. You do not need insurance to participate in the program. If you opt out of phase 2, you are responsible for the full cost of cleanup and removal yourself through a private contractor. Visible fire debris includes things like chimneys, hazardous trees, and ash, and if specified on the right of entry form by the homeowner foundations. Phase 2 has already begun in the Palisades fire area as of yesterday, the 11th. During this phase, soil contaminated by ash is also removed. Crews typically scrape 6 inches of soil around 2 to 5 feet from the ash footprint. Swimming pools are not removed as part of phase 2. That's a really popular question that people are asking a lot. However, the Army Corps of Engineers advises that pool water may be pumped out of swimming pools for wetting the debris, which is used to keep dust down during the removal process. Any fire debris in pools will be removed by the Army Corps. Then they will place metal fencing completely around the pool where feasible and notify the homeowner. This only pertains to pools adjacent to structures that are considered within the ash footprint. Visible fire debris removed during phase 2 is non-hazardous. Remember, we have no landfills in LA County that can accept hazardous materials. Should the Army Corps of Engineers find something hazardous on the property during cleanup, like asbestos, this debris is managed on site and taken to the phase 1 staging area. Visible fire debris is secured on site. It is placed in a dump truck that has been lined with very thick plastic. It's wrapped, it's sprayed with water to wet it down to prevent dust during transport and secured. Then the top is covered again and the truck is transported to a locally approved landfill that can handle fire debris damage, and where it's taken and it's buried underground at the landfill. Once one of the landfills approved for phase 2 debris is the Calabasas landfill. The Calabasas landfill has historically received phase 2 fire debris, including in 2019 and 2020 with fire debris from the Woolsey fire. The Calabasas landfill is a class 3 landfill and has countermeasures in place already to protect waste from seeping into the groundwater and causing hazards. And that is all I have on debris removal. So I have a couple other things I want to hit on really quickly.
Actually, let's take a quick pause. If
Yeah,
anyone has a question, sorry,
sure.
'cause I did say we can do it right at the end, but
Yeah, go ahead.
might
I
be
know
an
it's a
opportunity.
lot of info, so go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone has a question to use the raise your hand feature? Going once, going twice. I think folks are absorbing. Okay, go ahead, Irma.
I thank you for that information. I just have one question about what you indicated about the Army Corps of Engineers who are going to be doing the debris removal.
Mhm.
I was just at a site with one of my clients, and she was told, this is what she told me, that the Army of Engineers told her, that if the property is insured, which hers is, and her insurance policy, let's say, has $10,000 debris removal, that the Army's Corps of Engineer would be charging the $10,000 from the insurance company, and everything else would be free to them. Is that your understanding?
Right. So if you have, I don't know about the amounts because the actual debris removal process, like if you're doing it on your own, is really expensive, I've been
Correct.
told. But if you if you have it in your insurance to cover the debris removal, like if you have the funds available from your insurance, then that part is charged, and then whatever's left over is free, if that
Correct.
makes
That's my
sense.
understanding. Okay,
Yeah.
that's not what I
Yeah,
heard you say originally.
kind of like during COVID. Remember when we all went to get vaccines during COVID and they asked you if you had insurance to to submit your insurance information, and then
Yes.
your insurance would cover the COVID vaccine or what have you if it was covered, but if not, it was free to you. It's sort of like the same idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Just want to
Sure.
clarify that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Irma. And okay, go ahead and continue, Mandy, for the
Okay.
remaining 10 minutes.
Sure. So the board this week unanimously approved an increase in the maximum civil penalty for price gouging to $50,000 per violation. Previously, it was $10,000, which reinforces the county's commitment to protecting renters and consumers from exploitative practices during these times of crisis. The increased penalty is now in effect countywide. This measure comes in response to widespread reports of rental price gouging and overpricing of essential goods following the January 2025 Los Angeles County fires. Also this week, the first ever LA County departmental budget hearings have begun. If you weren't aware, there have never been public budget hearings. They've always been done behind closed doors. But with the passage of Measure G, now we have public budget hearings. So Measure G was a measure drafted in order to bring greater transparency and accountability to county government. It was on the ballot this past November and it passed. For the first time, community members will have a chance to engage in open discussions about how taxpayer dollars are invested, ensuring the budget process is more accessible to the communities it serves. I actually got an email this morning from my colleague that works on homelessness and housing, and those budget hearings are tomorrow. If I have a link, if you want me to share it with you, if anybody's interested in that.
Sure, if you can share that link either in the chat or you can share it with me via email.
Yeah, let me do that. I'll write myself a note. Yeah, that came in like right before I got into this meeting. We're also having a Palisades Town Hall, and it's another link that I can share if anybody's interested. Palisades Town Hall tomorrow from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Or sorry, that's tonight from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. There's a link to that. It's a webinar. You can submit questions whenever you register for the webinar, or if not, you can just sort of tune in and hear from. I think tonight the EPA is there, the Army Corps of Engineers is there, FEMA is there, the supervisor's there. I think Public Works is there. There are some other county agencies. So if you wanted to ask any additional questions on that, you can definitely log into the town hall and I can give you the link for that too. And then my last thing I have, I think, is Supervisor Horvath and UCLA Chancellor Frank, and Chancellor Frank is the new incoming chancellor, announced Commission on Climate Action and Fire Safe Recovery tomorrow at 9 a.m. They have created a Blue Ribbon Commission on Climate Action and a Fire Safe Recovery to lead recommendations for a resilient rebuild process following last month's devastated fires. Supervisor Horvath is establishing an independent commission made up of leading experts from diverse professional backgrounds to inform recommendations for LA County's recovery and rebuilding effort. The recommendations will be designed for broad applicability across LA County, ensuring a thoughtful, cohesive, and region-wide approach to rebuilding that prioritizes resiliency to natural hazards. This effort is supported by a grant from the California Community Foundation and in-kind support from UCLA Sustainable LA Grand Challenge and Luskin Center for Innovation. One other thing I forgot to mention, if anybody's interested, the actual Measure G Government Reform Task Force, which you can apply for to be on, and that is the sort of advisory body that is advising all of the changes that are being implemented for Measure G. So the changes for like the budget hearings are now public. All of the accountability measures are in place. It's we're getting a county executive. We're expanding the board, and so we need folks on the government reform task force in order to help advise that. So I can also put a link in or send you a link for how to apply to that if you're interested. There are some caveats on eligibility. So if anybody's a member of one of the LA City neighborhood councils, you aren't eligible. If you're an elected official of any kind, basically you aren't eligible. But I think that's it. If anyone has any questions.
Again, if you have any questions, please use the raise your hand feature, and our chair Mahogany will recognize you for the next 6 minutes for this particular segment for any questions that you may have. And while I think folks are queuing up, if you can share some of the links, and particularly the Measure G one, because I know Cecilia wanted to present something to us last month, but of course the wildfires occurred and that did not take place. So
yeah, it was a whole thing.
Thank you for that reminder there.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna search for it in my email, and I'll just hang out. And then if anyone has any questions, let me know.
Okay, very good. Any questions for Mandy? Going once. Okay, we dig that up. Oh, there's Robin.
Hi, Mandy.
Hi.
I'm at our Beverly Crest neighborhood.
Hey, how's it going?
Coming here, we all really appreciate it. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
say, Lindsey Horvath has been on TV, has been in the media a lot, and we're appreciative of that. We know how tired you all are. You're working 24 hours a day, every day. But to see you on the media and to hear your voices, your calm, cool, collected voices, and Lindsay's, please tell her thank you. And thank you also for being there for us.
Yeah, no, of course. And you know, Robin, but you can always reach out to me if you need anything.
I do know that.
Thank you, Robin, for those kind words. And any other members with a question, or at least the next 3 or 4 minutes here?
I don't.
Okay, Mandy did put in the task force implementation for Measure G. If you want to join in and submit your application for that, would be great. And I think we did track this at the middle of last year during the elections. And this was something that we were to monitor. So if you are interested, this opportunity to do so. That is in the chat.
And definitely if you're interested, let me know so I can pass on that we've got folks that are applying.
Okay. And when do applications due by? Interested in participating.
Hold on a second. I just clicked away from that.
No worries.
Yeah. I just clicked away from it. It just opened up not too long ago. Oh, March 7th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Friday, March 7th is the deadline.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. All right. Madam Chair, hearing no hands raised or any other questions, I think we can going once. If you can put your information in the chat in case someone pops up with a question after the fact, I'll
sure.
forward it your way. And I know you guys will be equipped to answer it in a timely fashion.
Yeah, and then I'll just because I'm gonna pop off here and go into my next meeting, but I'm gonna send an email over with all of the links for you.
Fantastic. That would be very, very helpful.
Okay.
Because I know you had a lot to basically drink it from the fire hose, but we really do appreciate the information and the resources that are there, because I think it'll be very useful for members who were impacted, also their clients and families as well. So
yeah, and definitely anybody who has any questions, just reach out, give me an email, and I'll get back to you.
all right.
Okay. Thank you.